My neighbor didn't ask, didn't knock, didn't leave a note. One morning, I walked outside with my coffee, looked toward the side yard, and there it was. A brand new 6-foot cedar fence, posts driven 2 feet into what I was pretty sure was my property. And standing on the other side of it, arms crossed, smirking at me like she'd already won, was Brenda Sterling. She didn't wave, she just turned and walked back inside. That fence would end up being the worst decision she ever made. Because I didn't yell, I didn't confront her. I went inside, sat down at my kitchen table, and I started making phone calls. Before I tell you what happened next, if you've ever had a neighbor try to steal an inch of what's yours, you need to be subscribed to Care and Conflict. Hit that button right now. Because what I did next was completely legal, completely documented, and completely devastating. Let's get into it. My property survey was in a file folder in my home office. The original one from when I bought the house, stamped and signed by a licensed surveyor. She'd already had disputes with 2 other neighbors on the street, one over a shared driveway, one over a tree that dropped leaves into her pool. Both of those neighbors had eventually just given up. Brenda countered on that. She had miscalculated with me. I took out my phone and I photographed the fence from every angle. Both sides, the post placements, the distance from my house. The visible survey marker pin that she had built directly adjacent to. The fence was not on the property line. The fence was 18 inches inside my property, across a 60-foot side yard. That's 90 square feet of land she had just absorbed into her yard. 90 square feet she had no right to. I called a licensed land surveyor that afternoon. I explained the situation calmly. He told me he could come out within the week. I booked the appointment and paid the fee without flinching. I also pulled Brenda's permit history from the county assessor's public records portal. This took me about 20 minutes online, and what I found was interesting. There was no permit, no fence permit, no variance request, nothing. In our municipality, any fence over 4 feet requires a permit. Brenda's fence was 6 feet tall. She had built an unpermitted fence on my land. He spent about 45 minutes walking the property, checking the existing iron pins, running his equipment. When he was done, he stood next to me and showed me the numbers. The fence encroached 18 to 22 inches into my property across its entire length. He gave me a written report, stamped, signed, dated. I sat down at my desk, and I wrote the most polite, precise, well-documented complaint letter you've ever seen. I attached the surveyor's report, my time-stamped photos, the permit records, and the relevant municipal code. I submitted it electronically and received confirmation 12 minutes later. 2 days later, Brenda knocked on my door. She was not smiling. I looked at her calmly and said, "Brenda, Kea have a stamp survey from a licensed professional showing the fences 18 to 22 inches inside my property line. I think the city has already been in touch with you," she said. "Surveys can be wrong," I said. "You're welcome to hire your own surveyor." She said she would be speaking to her attorney. I told her that sounded like a good idea, and I wished her a nice afternoon. Then I closed my door. Brenda applied for a retroactive fence permit. The city reviewed her application and denied it because the fences built did not conform to the required setbacks and encroached on a neighboring property. The permit was denied within 3 weeks. That side yard was the only access path from her front yard to her backyard. There was no gate on the other side of her house. The only way Brenda could get from her front driveway to her backyard, to her pool, to her outdoor patio, was through that side yard corridor. Her fence was sitting inside a utility easement that ran along my property, a legal easement I held rights to at any time. Her fence was blocking that access. I had my attorney send Brenda a certified letter. Brenda called me 2 days later. She was not screaming. She was not threatening. She sounded tired. She said, "What do you want?" It took her 3 weeks to have the fence removed and rebuilt on the correct property line. She had to relocate to sprinkler heads and a section of her irrigation drip line. She wrote me a check for the survey fee without a word. I just went back inside and filed every document in my folder away neatly. Because that's what you do when you win. Not loudly, quietly, completely. Hit the like button, and if you haven't subscribed to Karen Conflict yet, do it now. Because property conflicts don't wait for you to be ready. I'll see you in the next one.